everyone, welcome back to another video. As we continue the Game of Fate series, we pick up where we left off, which is exactly at the true ending of the first game. During his birthday party, in which he receives a mysterious gift from someone that to this day, we have no idea who she is, because she does not match any of the main cast in the three main games. So because of this gift, he is led to an old house somewhere and he accidentally transported himself to China in the 1920s. Why? We have no idea because apparently Chinese people just love the medieval times, I guess. We are immediately woken up by a cute dog, and I can't believe I'm saying this, your very first love interest of the game during her teenage years, named Xiao Kui. She immediately comments on how odd your clothing is and tries to sell her flowers to you. He tried paying for the whole basket, but since cash is a bit too modern at the time, he doesn't know what it is and throws it at him. Meanwhile, our quantum physicist of a main character thinks he is inside of a trap room and needs to finish the puzzle, and it will only take him a while to realize that it is real. Then we come across our first henchman of the game trying to molest a teenage girl, which is multiple levels of creepy. So you try to intervene, but he pulls out a knife, and then you meet your first companion, who is super nice and did a lot of explanation on the whole exposition of the whole political landscape in this current time, which is in 1925. Gosh, he's so nice. It wouldn't be nice if he survived to the end of the game and he died in the first 15 minutes. But here I thought I would have a companion for the entire game. His last dying wish is for us to deliver the item he was carrying to his destination. You have two choices. Either escape the inn through the front door, basically confessing your crimes, or go out through the window. Spoiler, confessing your crime is the right option. But what worries me is that the first action that he did once he discovered he's dead is to check for money, which he takes, by the way. By the way, if you think that the coin system will have an impact to the gameplay, I only have one thing to tell you. Yuesheng notices that there is a big miscom for the whole situation and realizes that the wine was poisoned. And so he is innocent and goes scot-free to go to Lian's house, which is where the item of delivery is going to. On the way there, he fell asleep on the side of the road, only to be woken up by a bunch of revolutionary women, or revolutionary teachers, I might say, chased by the police because they are teaching the masses on how to think for themselves, which is dangerous for who? This is where you meet your third love interest, Ku Si Fan. After rescuing her, you continue your journey to Chilen's house, and on the entrance is where you meet your fourth love interest, Nakamura Yoko. And you meet his Japanese uncle, Nakamura Kenji. On the way inside, you are finally taken to Chilen and gives her the package that went through a lot of ups and downs. But as you want to exit the premise, he is knocked out by the guard, and you walk up to Chilen pointing a gun to your face. You are, however, saved by the bell as Yuesheng arrives and explains the whole situation. Remember the earlier options where if you escape the window, yes, Chilen is gonna kill you right there and then. Once this whole big misunderstanding gets sorted out, you are asked to stay in her house as compensation, and you give her your name, and that's chapter 1. Chapter 2, this begins with you being woken up by a strange noise in the house, only to meet an alleged thief because, just look at what he's wearing, only to realize it's Chun, which is a reference to Bruce Lee's fictional character in his movies, which I learned while researching for this video. So the next day, you meet with Yuesheng again, and we have this montage of a supposed date, I guess, before being rudely interrupted by the henchman from a few days ago. We got rid of him by pointing a gun. When the main character was strolling around, he meets up with Yoko again, distributing goods to the less fortunate people. While talking to her, she got pickpocketed by a boy who ran up to her. You followed the boy, only to meet up with Chen Jun, and Sifang. Chen Jun told the boy to give back the wallet, and he explains that he just wanted to buy a book for his little sister. Good motivation, wrong execution. So you can decide to give the wallet to Yoko immediately or hang out with Sifan first? Well, it really depends on your preferences. Either you want to charm Yoko with your dry humor, in which we get this hilarious scene.
只要杨子想看，我还有很多保留节目哦。
那你下次一定要给我变新的魔术看哦。
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Or you help sell books with Sifan, in which she got in trouble with the police again, only to be saved by Chilean. Either way leads to meeting Chilean at night, as she confesses that the thing we were carrying was her father's head, and she vows revenge towards the Japanese. And then another pygmy guy waltzes into Chilean's premise and calls her his cousin, but he wants to marry her.
方小姐，我是来。
小妹，我来提亲了。
Sweet home Alabama.
But after that whole ordeal, our main character decided that he wanted to continue his research on time travel in a university. Even though in the previous scene, he pretty much fixed it already. And so the title of the game is mentioned by Chilean in this scene.
说不定要我念10年呢。
10年怎么了？对于医生的使命来说，10年不晚。换作是我，10年不成，还有20年；20年不成，还有100年。
He said it! He said it!
A 10-year time skip, and it is discovered that Chilean died as she attempted to kill the dictator on her own, and so this is when the time travel shenanigans begins, and he went full Steinscape, and that is Chapter 2. Chapter 3. We have a 10-year jump skip, and one day as he's reading the newspaper, he read that Chilean was killed during her assassination attempt, and so we spoke with our past self a week before the assassination, and we tell ourselves to go back before she makes the same mistake, in which he did, only to discover that she did in fact marry her cousin. Oh, and he saved her from an abusive relationship. Then they catch up with one another, and she declared her resolve to kill General Sun, which is the dictator we have been talking about. If you refuse, she straight up kills you. And so they plan it out in Yesheng's place, in which you can spend the night with Chilean if your relationship is high enough. And the next day we have two choices: either ask for help from Chenjun or Xin Fan. If you decided to meet up with Chenjun, you get to meet Xiao An, all grown up, the boy that pickpocketed Yoko. Oh, if he only knew how he's gonna grow up in the future. Such a tragedy. Meeting Chunjin, you realize that his leg is broken and limp due to the cousin, and he has barely anything left to his name as he cannot teach martial arts anymore. If you tell him of Chilean's plan and give him money, he will come to help in the assassination, or you can ask Sinfan for help, in which now she's a famous celebrity singer. As the protagonist and Chilean enters the fancy place, she comes across Sinfan before she performs. So basically, we don't know what happened between the 10 years, but what we do know is that Chilean is mad that Sinfan is working with General Sun, while Sinfan is accusing Chilean of being a spoiled child who can't see the grand scheme of things. Sinfan, not being an idiot, told Chilean not to do the assassination here or she will die. But of course she refuses.
Are you ladies done chattering?
So essentially after that you enjoy the show, and then after the performance it's either Chunjin or Sinfan that will create a distraction, and Chilean takes the opportunity to shoot General Sun, only for her to be killed in the process by a secret bodyguard, which is Xiaokei, the little girl we met 10 years ago. Wow, we totally didn't see that come. Not gonna lie, I was kinda shocked on my first playthrough. And with Chileans at Death's Arm, you wind up the clock back to the day you meet Xiao Kui. And that's the end of Chapter 3, such drama. As we enter Chapter 4, he essentially calls his past self 10 years ago to tell him that General Sun is colluding with Japanese, and that the flower girl is her personal hitman. And so he goes to the Japanese household, when he heard a loud noise coming from the other room, only to find a drunk Uncle Kenji taking advantage of Yoko privately. Why am I not surprised? She told us that her uncle is actually a nice guy. Right. And so The protagonist brings her to the inn and have her change clothes not to attract too much attention. She's then brought to Sinfan as her place will be safe house for Yoko temporarily. After a few days, she is helping the newspaper company translating Japanese words to Mandarin, and you have a choice to go with Yoko or Sinfan, but it really depends on your preference. You either help Yoko cook or help Sinfan realize her dream, or better yet, understand why she picked the career that she did in the future. You only get to enjoy the lunch, to be honest. After the lunch, Yoko gives intel on who the flower girl is, only to realize that she likes to hang out with Chun. And so the plan is to take her out for the whole day so that she doesn't turn to the bad guys. We just pamper her with a lot of treats and buy her everything that she wants. But along the way, we find hand puppets, and the protagonist gave a Chinese parody story of Rapunzel. Instead of being a long hair, it's blue eyed. Honestly, it is a good food for thought performances as she starts questioning what a child is as a person to be loved instead of being used for killing or taken advantage. As the day starts to set, they saw Chilean buying sweet potatoes, and Chilean immediately adopts Xiaokui as her young sister.
Brother, what's that?
This is a vital part of the story, as this will inevitably affect how she views the protagonist and see the errors of her ways. Over time, she is overwhelmed by the hospitality, and she just started crying due to how she yearns for warmth in her life. The chapter ends with them taking a photo, and that picture being a memento in their history. And that's the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5, immediately starting off from chapter 3's ending, but now Xiaokui hesitates to kill Chilean, and she does this huge monologue on how she killed her father's killer, but only to be short-lived as the cousin, his name is Yun Ting, comes in to basically take the power vacuum left from General Sun's death. And so Yun Ting tortures the protagonist for I don't know how long. The protagonist is basically almost killed, but Chilean intervenes by stabbing him, but the cousin shot her in the process and she died. During the whole commotion, the protagonist got saved by his friends. During the protagonist's recovery, he had a brief dream of Chilean taking care of him, only to realize that it was all his imagination. And so with this resolve, he reads all the newspaper to pinpoint the exact time that the cousins arrive to the town and assassinate him right there and then. So you tell your past self all this information, and so your past self goes back to the town, but you notice that Yesheng's inn is closed during midday. You can choose to see what's going on or don't bother and just go about your day. If you choose to save Yesheng, she will be there to help you with assassinating the cousin. If you don't, she will not be present. That's literally the only difference, other than being that you had a fight with Kenji and he offers you a grenade at the end, but if you accept it, it ends up being the bad ending because you have no idea how the grenade works. So essentially during the day, during the arrival ceremony, Xiaokui and Chunjun arrives and they both distract the soldier guards, and the protagonist completely fumbles it as he misses every shot in point blank range. It's either Yuesheng helps you shoot with a rifle or Xiaokui finishing the job with a deck of cards.
Why was she up there all this time?
Which is badass, not gonna lie. And so the protagonist rendezvous only to see Xiaokui waiting and even manage to buy a snack while waiting. And so the protagonist wakes up in the future where Chilean is not dead, is not forced into a marriage, she is instead jailed. And honestly, starting from this point, I don't get the problem, because in her monologue she admits that she wants to be judged for her crime. So why is everyone else having the problem here? She's willing to face the justice system. But anyway, that's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6 begins with all the characters just wallowing in their sorrows that Chilean is in jail for 10 years. And so they go visit her in jail. Apparently the guard is fond of her, so yada yada yada. They have this emotional moment with one another as they open up to her, basically saying what they always wanted to say. After the jail scene, they split up to find evidence about General Sun's cahoots with the Japanese. If you go with Xiaokui, you discover that her parents was murdered and she was taken in by General Sun. And this problematic scene, I will never forget. Why are we given the option to kiss her in this moment during a vulnerable moment, and to assume, right, that 10 years ago she's about what, 14, 15, and 10 years later she's about 24, 25. Yes, she's the age to consent. But the fact that you knew her when she was 14 and 15 and you choose to date her now seems sus to me.
Whoa, 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 hey.
But anyway, if you go with Yoko, you discover that her parents sold her to Kenji, which explains, though not justify his behavior. With all the emotional plot twists out of the way, he has a meeting with Chilean within the prison to declare that he will be her defense attorney, which I don't know how this will turn out, to be honest. He is not a lawyer, he is a quantum physicist, so we'll see, I guess. Sinfan offers an express route, if you will, using her influence to meet with the general of the current regions to sway the outcome of the court. So they both meet up with the general, and sadly he isn't very keen in intervening with the court process as he believes in the justice system as if it existed in that era. And in the end of the chapter, the protagonist promises to Chunjun that he will get Chilean out of prison. And that's the end of chapter 6. We enter chapter 7 with the group making a last-ditch effort in finding evidence that General Sun was working with the Japanese. Chunjun comes up with a plan to pretend that he's selling vegetables to infiltrate the compound. The protagonist navigates inside with Yoko to Kenji's private office. The letters are written in numbers, not Chinese or Japanese numbers, so they assume it is written in code, so they just find the thickest book they can find and work from there. After decoding the letters, it was confirmed that General Sun was working with Nakamura to take over the region. On the way out, you got caught by Kenji as he uses his samurai technique, but you counter with Chunjun's technique of capturing the blade with your bare hands and kill him once and for all. They all rush to the court and the protagonist, as promised, becomes the defense attorney. This court scene is mostly just your usual court scene in Hollywood of just back and forth with the prosecutor of questioning the motive, ends up questioning the person's integrity, questioning our arguments, and with the stereotypical bringing witnesses last minute, revealing last minute evidence that somehow wins the whole public court of opinion that the judges had to run away from the mob. The game offers three choices. Either you make a backroom deal with the general that he promised wouldn't do, or see the outcome with no external help, or let Xiaokui kill the general. As the same person, I picked the no external help. To see the outcome is that Chilean's sentence got shortened to only 2 years. Even though we don't really feel it because we just cut to a scene where Chilean finishes her prison sentence and they live happily ever after. And they parallel the ending scene with the first game's ending scene with another birthday scene. And the ending of this game is really depends on who you favored most, and most of them is just happy endings. You can watch it on my channel to see all of them. The true ending scene is that the protagonist got the time machine working again after 10 years in the past, and he accidentally got teleported back 100 years to the future. He really needs to stop turning on time machines without knowing how it works prior to turning it on. Which leads to the last game in the trilogy. Stay tuned for that, although I don't know how I'm gonna explain that whole convoluted story. The game just keeps getting more complicated with every entry in the series. So yeah, just wait for that. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but thank you for watching, and for the next video, I don't know yet.